Hello everyone and welcome back. You might be able to tell once again I'm sick. I have no idea what's going on with my body right now, but I've been getting sick so easily and it's absolutely just horrendous and it's terrible. Anyway, the official Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire launch trailer was released today and I watched it in the morning. I thought it was going to be during midday when I had classes, but it was in the morning. And I woke up to my alarm and I checked YouTube and a wonderful surprise was waiting on the internet and it was absolutely beautiful. So I thought today we'll just go over it. Nothing super in-depth, just more about critiquing and examining the images shown in this launch trailer. So let's jump right in. Okay, so the very first thing we get is the ArenaNet logo, now in the beautiful purple and orange, and I'm gonna pause it right here. I am playing this on YouTube, all credit to ArenaNet, and I'll leave the link to the video down below. But the first image we get here is of a very mysterious skeleton with some ornate flags to the left of the screen. When I first saw this, I thought of the skeleton that was shown in the announcement trailer. For those of you who want to go back and watch the announcement trailer, I will also have that linked down below. But in that announcement trailer, there was a skeleton that resembled this. We don't get too much detail, but the one I saw in the announcement trailer looked to be more dragon-esque. I'm not too sure actually. The image in my mind's kind of fading, but there was a skeleton shown in the announcement trailer, and for me personally, I think that this skeleton is returning in this trailer. Nothing too groundbreaking. It's just setting the scene, and then we move on to a shadowy figure in the background. Well, and then we zoom in and it's not so shadowy anymore. It is in fact the god of war, Balthazar, decked out in all of his really awesome looking armor. A lot of fire and chains and metal. My type of guy. But he looks really nice. It's gonna be really interesting to see how often we encounter Balthazar. This specific shot reminds me of the Heart of Thorns announcement trailer with Rytlock walking into Tyr, the older version of Tyr, because I just love punching that into everyone's mind, that older image of Tyr. But this reminds me of Rytlock walking into Tyr, but instead it's Balthazar walking into the desert to play with all of his monstrous forged creatures. Can't wait to chop their heads off. But it's going to be really interesting to see how often we actually encounter Balthazar. I know we're going to encounter the forged plenty of times because it's his army, but the god himself, not too sure. So we're going to continue on, and I believe at this moment it is when I believe it was a player character saying like what happened to in the desert, and a female voice, which I believe it might be Ellen Keel. I actually have no idea who the person speaking is, but we do know that Ellen Keel might have a role in the very first instance, and the voice did sound, I believe it sounded like Ellen Keel, and she's like, Balthazar's in the desert, it's a powder keg, and he set off the fuse, and she's like, you gotta go handle it, but one person against the god, and then I'm like, in my mind, I can already see like the scenario unfolding. The player character's like, no, I have friends, I have friendship, all that sappy, good, heroic stuff, which I'm a sucker for, so definitely don't mind it. But moving on from the Balthazar imagery, we move into the, excuse me, the actual depictions of the desert, and what we have here is the jackal decked out in his glowy runes and what is assumed to be the player character on the back of the jackal. Typically when I see a character that I have no idea who it is, I automatically assume it's a player character. I don't want to like go down into like the rabbit hole and be like, oh my god, this is an important lore character from Guild Wars 1. I don't think they would do that in a launch trailer, especially in a launch trailer, possibly in an in-game cinematic, but not here. So we have the player character riding along in the jackal, or on the jackal, and I believe this is right outside Amnoon. just from the temples. And we have some palm trees and some foliage in the foreground and background. I'm going to move along. And we have this somewhat new location. And there's a little Asura on the bridge. And I actually really love that they put that Asura there, because it gives the person watching this trailer a scale, or like a little, like a key almost, if you're like reading a map, to the size of the Asura, to the size of the ceramic pots spilling out the water, which turns to ice, and the scale from the Asura to the actual bridge, or the Asura to the actual towers and architecture. And this really does show the enormous scale that Paths of Fire will have. And I mentioned that this is somewhat new. I believe we did get to see this, just a little snippet of it, during the announcement live stream when they were talking about exploring the desert and the verticality. It's not just flat. There's new environments, and it's not just an arid, dry place. And this certainly tells the player character that it's not a desolate wasteland, which there will be desolate wastelands. But overall, I think this is really beautiful. Pan up a little bit, get to see some flowing water, and just the sheer amount of I just like, I'm in awe of this, because it's like something we really haven't seen before in Guild Wars 2. So all the new architecture is going to definitely be eye candy for me. And we're going to move along, and we will switch over to a new setting, which I believe is in close proximity to the last shot that was shown. It is of a Solari. I'm going to assume it's an Elementalist. Possibly a Mesmer, but I don't think a Necromancer would dress that brightly colored. I think it's Elementalist. I don't know why that's important. It's not important at all. But he is looking out over a vantage point with some nature surrounding him, as the Solari typically like to be placed. I don't think this is an important lore character. It could just be another player character. It could be representative of the Weaver, as we will soon roll into the highlights of the elite specializations. Excuse me. Ugh, this sickness is terrible. And then here, this is a very fast sequence when you're just watching the trailer, so I definitely had to go back a couple times and watch it. But we have here is, I believe, 90% sure this is the Desolation, based off of the leaked map art and the overall vibe we get from the Desolation. It is a desolate map. It is where Palaba Joko is, and it's corrupted. And we have a Char character, presumably a renegade, running along some pipes, which definitely reminds me of the Dwayna heart in Siren's Landing. I always like going in those and like getting the relics and then flying about and being like, oh, I have to go clear 5 poison gases, and then I get the heart completed. Just a side note. But I do love this shot, especially with the towards the left of the background pipe. It does give you a sense of verticality. Like, I can just imagine having, or being on a jackal, and, or no, not a jackal, a springer, excuse me, being on a springer and having to leap from ledge to ledge to gain verticality and to get over those ledges. Or if you're on the pipe, you can use a jackal to teleport across, and or a raptor to leap forward. I'm not sure if the skimmer would be much use here, but I could be wrong. And then we get a quick shot of the Forged, scene of Forged, but again, highlighting the Balthazar themes. And then we have here the player character on the jackal this time, leaping towards the Forged and about to attack him, but then they switch to the next frame and they don't give us a satisfaction of seeing them get pummeled. But in a weird way, that is also satisfying when they don't show you it, or at least to me it is. And now we are transitioning on to the elite specialization sections, where they kind of indirectly state elite specializations are in this expansion. We have the Deadeye here, a female with a rifle, and then we have a little skimmer. And in the trailer, it makes such a beautiful noise. I love the sound design. Even where I paused it, such a magnificent angle of all of his biological apparatuses. But also I'd like to mention this was the setting that the Soul Beast specialization was highlighted, the video where it took place. But the water detail is really, really amazing, and just get some more natural shots. Always nice to see. And then we have here a Scourge, the exact same model of the Scourge in the Elite Specialization overview. And she is heading towards a branded, I don't believe this is a new branded, I think we have seen this, and if you're like fighting the Shatterer or you're near branded area, I think these are like branded ogres, branded troll, branded grunt, something beefy, branded beefcake. I call them branded beefcake. No, but we see a Surge running towards them, uses the one skill that I'm forgetting, which gives you life force. But I'll also like to point out in the background, I believe this is a setting that we have not seen yet. It could be a palace, a temple, some ruins. It does look fairly ruined with the destruction of the pillars and the surrounding areas. I kind of get the sense this is actually in the first map. I could be wrong. But we're moving over to the Soul Beast, where they are absorbing their pet. And then we move on to the Spellbreaker, where they are fighting the Awakened. And then we get this quick shot of the presumable player character running away from a bunch of explosions, because they look badass when they do that. Who doesn't love a good running away from explosions scene? James Cameron, where are you at? Moving on. Continue to run away. And then we have the first appearance, I believe like the first appearance of, well, other than Balthazar, the appearance of Rytlock and Canuck, two major characters in this expansion, along with Casimir, which we will see her fairly soon in this trailer. But Rytlock is like, no, I believe it was Canuck first. He's like, oh, this is your first god fight? Rytlock's like, yeah. And then Canuck smirks, and boom. Can we make this a meme? Can like the Guild Wars 2 community make this a meme? Like, I saw this and I was quivering. I loved it. I loved it so much. But their banter is really, it's nice. It is, I don't know if it's necessarily comical. It is more lighthearted, which is one thing that I would like them to maybe step a couple paces away from. I want them to take this story really seriously. I want there to be darker moments, and I don't know, just for the player character myself to feel much more involved with the characters, and to not just be like, oh, they died, jolly whatever, Tiny's calling about like Scruffy 2.0 or something. But I want to experience some emotional trauma. Moving on, we have the big daddy himself, Balthazar. Oh, moving a little too fast, sorry. Balthazar crashes down onto a platform. I believe in the background there's like burning pillars, so definitely, I'm not sure. Okay, I have a conspiracy theory music. No, ArenaNet is notorious for putting their end bosses and their end fight scenes, I wouldn't say fight scenes, but their climactic moments at the very end of that expansion in the trailer. I'm not saying this is, but it is definitely a possibility that this takes place at the very end of the expansion. I hope it doesn't, because I don't think they would. I don't think they would give us any imagery about the final chapter of the expansion. This could be toward the middle, and if this is the middle, this is awesome, because some of the images or the frames after this give quite a lot of detail about what might happen in this scene. But it's definitely something I've thought about, that this could be like the final moments of the expansion. Once again, I hope this is not the case, and I don't necessarily believe it is. Just, you know, I love my conspiracies. So we have the player character just like, what? Shook 2.0. And then if we move a couple of frames, we see, I just want to mention this real fast. Casimir is not in her regal outfit. Just wanted to point that out. She's in her Phoenix set. Canuck somehow is in his Verdant Executioner, or I believe that's the outfit. His outfit. I also wanted to mention that Rytlock's sword, Sohathan, is the older version of Sohathan. In the demos, we saw a updated version with more polygons, and it was a lot smoother looking. In the frames before, when Rytlock and Canuck were talking, his sword was the older version of Sohathan. Just like fun facts and like fun tidbits that this trailer was probably made a while ago. I don't know. Maybe they just used wrong. Either it was made a while ago, or they used the wrong assets when making this trailer. But I would opt with the former. And then we have Balthazar being like, and you know, all like, I'm God of War, obey me. You know, gods kill you, all that stuff. And then he uses his sword. There's like some blue energy, which I find very interesting. Typically God of Fire, like I would imagine like a lot of like reds and oranges and yellows, not necessarily blue. It could be just from the amount of pure raw ley line energy that he has absorbed through like the Bloodstone and the dragons, and Primordus and Jormag from Timy's device. So something to think about. Just looking at the little details. We have Casimir, mouth wide open, and on the ground, stretching out her palm in what seems to be a very desperate moment in this story instance. And I feel bad for Casimir. I have no idea what's going to happen here. It seems either, for the sake of the trailer, they put her in the downstate and made her use skill number 4, help me, or this is a predetermined and necessary facet for the story. We will find out in 2 days, and I'm really excited. Okay, and then we're moving forward a little bit, and this is the this is like, I almost said je ne sais quoi, but this is the one of the most interesting images in the trailer. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. I have my own conspiracy theories. Nothing's confirmed, but there's definitely theories which might possibly be more accurate than others. Excuse me. But we see here Balthazar, just because he's so badass. Like he's just like, he's not even holding a sword at this moment. Like he's like using the magic to just like levitate his sword and like swing it around. Like, I want that. Why can't we have that power in real life? Like, why does real life have to be so dull? Anyways, I digress. In the distance, we have a winged creature, which, you know, winged creatures in Guild Wars 2, that typically implies a dragon. I know, I'm smart. But we have what appears to be a dragon in the distance. Some people right off the bat said, oh my god, it's Kragatorak, because, you know, Guild Wars 2 has a habit of putting their dragons and final bosses in the trailers. I immediately dismissed that theory, because after seeing Primordus, I would be really disappointed if they made Kragatorak that size, and I'm like, maybe it's an optical illusion, or maybe they just like opted out for the cheaper version. Just kidding. I don't think this is Kragatorak. It doesn't, in a couple more frames, it doesn't look as crystalline. It does look a little bit more fleshy. There are certain crystals on the dragon. There are other theories which is like, oh, this is a champion of Kragatorak, which from my point of view, it made more sense to me. And this was the first theory that I actually latched onto, and I thought of when I saw it, was that this is just a champion of Kragatorak. Balthazar is trying to kill Kragatorak. Kragatorak's trying to run away and trying to defend himself, so he's probably sending his champions to deal with Balthazar and to stall him. So that's what I thought. This is going to be Kragatorak just sending a champion, a new version of the Shatterer. Not necessarily new version of the Shatterer, but a a brother, a different model other than the Shatterer, which is representative of a champion of Krakatork. That was a lot of words strung together, and I feel like that was a run-on sentence, so I apologize. I have the third theory, and the most interesting one to me is that this dragon is Gleam. Wait, is Gleam glossed? Oh my god, I'm literally having a mental breakdown right now. Okay, I'm back. I just had like a little midlife crisis, and I totally jumbled up Gleam and glossed. Another theory is that this is Gleam, which in my opinion is very interesting. It is the first, I believe it's the first scion of Glint. Not super familiar with Gleam as a character. Glossed, also known as Glint, I am more familiar with. But I believe Gleam is the first scion of... Wait, Gleam is the first scion of Glint, yes. And then Aurene is presumably the second, even though she had other babies. But I don't think they made it. Don't criticize me too harsh, my lord. I apologize. Anyway, third theory is that this is Gleam. As Gleam is supposed to be alive, we just have never encountered them. And we're gonna move over, and we have that little moment of Balthazar clutching the air, grasping the magic, and trying to, presumably, destroy the dragon flying towards him. And then we get this very interesting cutscene of what appears to be more of like a diamond-shaped crest with like eternal alchemy triangles going on. I don't know. But it does look very similar to the cutscenes in Heart of Thorns, where you're given the vision by the egg, and at the very end of Living World Season 3, when you get the vision from the eye. It's that artistic, very, very artistic. It's not CGI, it's just painfully drawn cinematics. And I think this is what we will see as a cinematic in-game. I hope so. It looks really pretty. Now, it's just a matter of what comes before and after this that I'm more interested in. And we're gonna move along a little bit. And then honestly, this is so fast. These shots are so fast. I'm gonna slow it. Ooh, there we go. Hey, not really able to get the desired frame. We're gonna try it one more time. No, okay. 3. Okay, no, never mind. Okay. Anyway, this is when Balthazar is striking that dragon that was plunging towards the god of war, Balthazar. There was an image, if I could just like move back by one frame, there was an image of the tail of this dragon, and it had yellow crystals on it. This dismisses the theory that it's like Krakatork himself. Even by the wings, it's in my opinion too fleshy to be Krakatork. But then, on the other hand, you could argue that it's too fleshy to be Gleam, even though we don't really know what Gleam looks like in Guild Wars 2. Glint was very crystalline and was a true champion of Krakatork, and in my mind I see Glint being just like made of pure crystals. When I think of her children, I think of Gleam as being much more akin to his mother rather than Aurene, because Aurene absorbed the energy of 2 other Elder Dragons. This does look very fleshy though. So another theory, it could be Aurene, because her wings kind of look like that too. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Did I crack the puzzle? Did I crack the code? In my opinion, I think Gleam would be much more crystalline. We'll have to see. Oh wait, but you can see that some of the crystals are a bit yellow. Aurene's crystals are blue, I think. Anyway, moving on. This is gonna get so long. Okay, here we have Rytlock in what appears to be a very ornate, harmonious place. And when I first saw this, I thought of the Mists. On second thought, I don't necessarily think it's mist. I think there's a slight chance that it is a mist. You know, anything can go anyway in this story. But the crystals in the background, I'm assuming they're crystals. If they are crystals, they match the color that is on the dragon that attacks Balthazar. So another theory is that this is like the dwellings and the quarters of Gleam, which I'm totally behind that theory. You know, I'm excited to see where it goes. So we're gonna continue, and we have Balthazar in this really weird filter, like he's trying to be an Instagram model, but it's not working. But I think this might only be for the trailer. I don't necessarily see this happening in game because it just looks so drastic. And then we get some more shots from the end of Living Will Season 3. And then we have the player character rising up from the grasses. A lot of people are bitching and complaining about the quality of the grass. It's grass. Calm down. Now I will say, you know, it could have been better, like standards like other games of 2018, but keep in mind this was made in 2012, and I think they're making graphical improvements to definitely keep their place as a very beautiful MMO. So props to ArenaNet. Good job. But get over the grass. And then we have here, get a front-facing shot of Casimir's staff. This, I gotta say, when I first saw this, I was half asleep, half awake. But when I heard this line that Rytlock says and the music accompanying it, oh my god, I got so inspired, and I was just like, I was filled with juices, and I was like, ugh, adrenaline. He's like, are we gonna kill a god or what? And like the anthem starts playing, and it pans from Casimir to Canuck to Rytlock. Right here, you see here his sword's a little out of date. And when I saw this, I was just like, oh my god, this is beautiful. I love it so much. And it really got me hyped. This was probably my favorite. And these frames were my favorite in the entire trailer, by far. And then another really interesting little tidbit of this trailer is that we have the player character on the Jackal, but on the other mounts we have Canuck and Rytlock, and on the Skimmer we have Casimir. Casimir, you got Skimmer? What? You're a Mesmer. You don't need to go faster. You have portals. You have fun with portals. I'm a Guardian main. I don't have fun with portals. Check your privilege. I'm just kidding. But it's really interesting to see all the characters use the masteries that the player characters use, or the lore characters using the masteries that the player characters use. That's one thing that I kind of fell off with Heart of Thorns, is that they didn't use any of the masteries that the player character had, and they never elite specialized, other than Marjorie, she was technically already elite specialized before any of us, so she doesn't really count. But that was one little tidbit that I would have liked from Heart of Thorns. It's not necessary, but it's just like those little specks of flavor, a little cherry on top that I'm just like, ugh, magnifique. Okay, we're gonna continue because this video's gonna take like 30 minutes. We have a fight scene of the Awakened. I'm guessing from the foreground. They look undead-esque, and they look like the Mordant weapons that were data mined. And then in the background we have the Forged, and to the left we have one of the desert worms. The names of these worms are escaping me. They were patched into the game accidentally during Nightmare, and they replaced all the worms, the worm models. I kind of feel like they're like Jadonda. I feel like it starts with a J, but I'm probably wrong. So we're gonna keep going. And we have this really cinematic pan, and I think if this was like an in-game cutscene, like the player character fighting a veteran or a guard of Palawa Joko, that'd be so cool. I don't know. If I had a whole movie about Guild Wars 2, oh my god, I would pay for every single copy in the world. That's an exaggeration, but I wouldn't mind it. And then we have a fight scene between the Awakened to the left and the Forged to the right. Well, we don't necessarily... Well, I was going to say we don't necessarily know if they are awakened to the left, but I think the green aura and the skeletal architecture kind of gives it away, and the Forged being all fiery. I think having these... If this is a story instance, okay, I think this is an awesome story instance. I really enjoyed the personal story steps when you were... I remember when I was a Char and you had to invade a camp and there were like snipers on a hill and you like command them to like kill some people and stuff. And I think like these just big war scenes in the story would be really helpful to the whole narrative. And then we have this really Vista-esque view of what I assume to be the Palace of Palawajoko. We have seen a couple, or we have seen this exact same architecture in concept arts, and I believe in a couple of the trailers. This really does look like a vista. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a vista up here. I think that'd be a great idea if they put a vista up here. And if it's not in there, Rena, you got 2 days. Just kidding. And so we have a renegade over here, who I think was the Char running on the pipes in the Desolation. Just some more fight. Ooh, blinding white flash. And we have some more fight scenes with like the Awakened, the Forged, all that lovely stuff. And then we have here, I have no idea what this is, but it's a giant forged, I believe it's forged because it crushed and awakened, forged robot thing, and it's smashing people. If this is like a meta event, I'm so down. I'm gonna be playing this meta event like 24/7. If this is a bounty, this is a bounty, oh my god. This bounty is gonna be awesome. If it's a story step, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome either way. Anyway it goes, it's gonna be awesome because it's a giant forged tank, mecha tank. Gives me Power Rangers realness. It looks great. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. The trailer's almost over. With Balthazar conjuring up a sword because he's a god. And I think it's this point he's like, oh, the gods have left this world. And it's like, no, but Lissa, Dwayna, what's up with Dwayna? My homegirl Dwayna. I love Dwayna so much. She's my favorite god. S. And then, Balthazar is raising up a sword, presumably to kill things. Oh, and then we had some forged attacks with a beam. I think that was a new forged. Had like blades as his hand and a beam attack that I didn't see in the demos. And there was Spellbreaker killing some more Awakened, Soul Beast killing, I believe, a champion of Balthazar or a forged. And then we have a Holosmith. That player character was a Holosmith the entire time. The more you know. And then we have, sorry, missed the frame. Okay, I'll go back. And then we have the final frame, which is probably the most interesting. Maybe not. I retract that comment. Not the most interesting. It's Balthazar with his bloodshot eyes. He probably wants some eye drops for that, or some milk. Either way, his eyes. A little pink eye. Anyway, but to the left and right of him, we have statues of Palawajoko. At first, I only saw the left statue. I'm like, oh my god, it's the actual Palawajoko. And I was like shaking. I was like, oh my god, finally, get to see a Palawajoko. But no, I looked to the right. I'm like, oh, they're just statues. It's sad. I was like, oh, Balthazar and Palawajoko are teaming up. Could you imagine if that happened? That would be no, that wouldn't happen because we just saw them fighting. Never mind. Conspiracy theory debunked. But yeah, that was like my reaction and my overall feel for the trailer. I hope you guys enjoyed. You have 2 days left for Path of Fire. If you guys want to buy Path of Fire, pre-order it, get all your goodies, you can use my link down below. Wink wink. Or you could use the links of any other content creators that you'd like to support. I don't know what else to say. And typically when someone doesn't know what else to say, they typically leave and or sign out. So I think that's what I'm doing now. Thank you everyone once again for watching. I hope you liked it. Like the video if you liked it. Comment down below about what you think about this trailer. And don't forget to use my link if you just need to pre-purchase it. Because you guys got 2 days left. 2 whole days left. What are you doing with your life? Hopefully playing Path of Fire Friday. Better. I'll be on. Catch you then. Bye, everyone. Mwah.